Welcome, Bingers, to a place where curiosity is king and your brain is your playground. This is The Binge, your weekly deep dive into literally anything and everything that's captured our collective attention. We're here to dissect, celebrate, and occasionally commiserate over every glorious, ridiculous, and utterly captivating detail of subjects as diverse as the obscure corners of forgotten history, the latest scientific breakthroughs, the bizarre world of competitive obscure hobbies, or even the intricate mechanics of your morning coffee. If it can be explored, debated, or obsessed over, we're binging it. So settle in, clear your mind, and prepare to deep dive. Let's get binging.
It's the Binge Podcast where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast. Come join us fast.
All right, Bingers, you know what time it is. The moment has arrived to peel back the layers of calm, polite discourse and unleash the glorious, unadulterated fury that's been simmering just beneath the surface. This is The Rant, your designated outlet for all those infuriating, mind-boggling, and utterly ridiculous aspects of existence that just beg to be torn limb from limb. No holds barred, no quarter given, just pure, unfiltered, righteous indignation. Let's get into it.
Cast at the daily grind. Thoughts unleashed, no place to hide. Passion storming every mind. Tune in, tune out, tonight we ride.
Good God, the sheer unadulterated chaos of it all. You'd think, wouldn't you, that in this supposedly advanced age, with all of our whiz-bang technology and our smart everything, we could manage to get a few hundred people from one place to another without it feeling like a particularly ill-conceived circus. But no, the modern airport, my friends, is not a gateway to adventure. It's a meticulously crafted gauntlet of bureaucratic nonsense, baffling design choices, and the collective sigh of 1,000 weary souls. It starts the moment you even think about going. You're forced to arrive naturally a ridiculous amount of time before your flight. 2 hours? Try 2.5 just to be safe because some genius somewhere in a windowless room decided that the only thing standing between you and a terrorist plot is whether your tiny tube of toothpaste is exactly 3.4 ounces. And woe betide you if it's 3.5. The world might just end. So you join the queue, and what a queue it is. A writhing, shuffling mass of humanity, all vaguely bewildered, half of them trying to wrangle screaming toddlers who sound like they've been possessed by demons, while the other half are attempting to navigate a suitcase the size of a small car, usually on wheels that have clearly been cursed by a vengeful deity. They veer wildly, snagging ankles and generally causing a cascading domino effect of grumbles and muttered apologies, a slow-motion car crash of luggage and human exasperation. Then you get to security. Ha! Security! A place where all pretense of dignity goes to die, sacrificed on the altar of a perceived safety. Off come the shoes, the belt, the watch, the last vestiges of your self-respect. Everything gets chucked into these flimsy plastic bins that invariably get stuck, causing a ripple effect of sighs and muttered curses down the line, a symphony of frustration echoing through the cavernous space. You're then shuffled through that infernal scanner, arms aloft, looking for all the world like you're about to surrender to an alien invasion, or perhaps just attempting a particularly awkward interpretive dance. And just when you think you're clear, when you've managed to rebelt your trousers and tie your laces without falling over like a drunk giraffe, some job's worth with a face like a slapped arse decides your laptop bag needs additional screening, which of course means unzipping every compartment and rifling through your underwear in front of God and everyone, as if your briefs are a known hiding place for weapons of mass destruction. It's a bloody miracle any of us ever make it to the gate without having a full-blown aneurysm, or at least a public sobbing fit that would put a theatrical performance to shame. The whole performance feels less like genuine security and more like a perverse reality show where the prize is merely escaping with your sanity mostly intact, and maybe a slightly less wrinkled shirt. And the gates themselves, the tiny, cramped little purgatories where you're sardined in with 100 other weary souls, all eyeing each other suspiciously, wondering who's going to be the first to unleash the inevitably noxious farts that seem to be a prerequisite for air travel. The air hangs heavy with the scent of stale coffee, anxiety, and the faint, unsettling aroma of feet that have been crammed into ill-fitting shoes for far too long. A truly unforgettable olfactory experience. The gate agents, bless their hearts, try to maintain some semblance of order, but it's a futile endeavor. The boarding process is equally absurd. Group 1 will board now, they chirp over a loudspeaker that sounds like it was salvaged from a derelict fairground ride and has seen better days, as if anyone actually pays attention to the arbitrary numbers printed on their boarding pass. It's a free-for-all, a stampede, a desperate dash for overhead bin space, because God forbid you have to check that carry-on and risk it ending up at Ulaanbaatar, or worse, being summarily discarded by a baggage handler who clearly hates his job with the passion of 1,000 burning suns and sees your neatly packed items as personal affronts. And don't even get me started on the prices for a lukewarm coffee and a stale croissant. It's highway robbery, plain and simple. You'd think, for the absolute privilege of being treated like cattle and having your personal space invaded by strangers who seem to delight in coughing directly in your face with the force of a small hurricane, they'd at least offer a decent cup of tea, perhaps with a biscuit that hasn't been rehydrated from a packet found in a dusty attic, tasting faintly of cardboard and regret. But no, just another example of how the entire damn system seems designed to extract every last penny and shred of sanity from you before you even lift off the ground. It's a bloody marvel any of us actually bother. And then, just when you think you're finally done, when you've endured the cramped seating, the crying babies, the questionable in-flight meal that tastes like disappointment, and the jarring landing, and the interminable wait for your baggage, you're hit with the final indignity, the distinct possibility that your luggage has indeed decided to take its own, very extended, vacation in a country you've never even heard of, leaving you stranded and bereft. It's enough to make you want to just stay home and watch documentaries about exotic locations, isn't it? Maybe just a good old-fashioned road trip where the only airport you have to worry about is the one in your nightmares. Welcome, Bingers, to another segment of The Binge. You know, we spend a lot of time dissecting the grand narratives of life, the big questions, the monumental triumphs and failures, but sometimes it's the little things, isn't it? The tiny, insidious frustrations that peck away at our composure, the daily indignities that don't quite warrant a full-blown meltdown, but certainly deserve a collective groan. So, for this segment, we're shifting gears. Put down your philosophical texts, take a deep breath, and prepare to nod vigorously in agreement as we delve into the delightfully maddening minutiae of modern existence. This week, we're counting down our top 10 utterly, mildly annoying things. Let's get into it.
Top 10 time, it's the thrill of the night. Rankings up high, feeling safe flight. Listening close, get ready to climb. We're counting it down, it's top 10 time.
1. That one loose grocery cart wheel. You start your shopping trip with optimism, gliding smoothly across the linoleum. Then, like a sudden mechanical betrayal, one wheel decides it has other plans, sending your cart veering wildly to the left, forcing you to compensate with the furious grace of a drunken ice skater. 2. The endless scroll. You're just trying to get a quick bit of information online, a news headline, perhaps a recipe for a lentil soup, and suddenly you've lost 20 minutes to an infinite feed of meaningless content. Your thumb aches, your brain feels significantly less intelligent, and the lentil soup remains unmade. 3. Untangling headphones, a universal constant of frustration, a modern-day Gordian knot. No matter how carefully you coil them, they emerge from your pocket or bag looking like a snake pit designed by M.C. Escher, defying all known laws of physics and common sense. 4. The low battery notification at 3%. Just give me a warning at a reasonable percentage for crying out loud. Not when I'm already frantically searching for a charger, performing a ritualistic dance around available outlets as my device gasps its last digital breath, often mid-important task. 5. People who talk on speakerphone in public, the auditory equivalent of a cheese grater to the eardrums, a grating invasion of your personal soundscape. We, the innocent bystanders, did not consent to hear your entire, often mundane conversation about Aunt Mildred's bunions or your car's oil change. 6. Subscription cancellation mazes, the digital equivalent of being trapped in a labyrinth designed by a particularly sadistic minotaur who specializes in recurring charges. They'll let you sign up in 2 glorious, frictionless clicks, but canceling requires a pilgrimage, a blood sacrifice, and answering 17 passive-aggressive questions about why you're abandoning their magnificent service. 7. Finding a parking spot, a daily lottery of despair, especially in any urban area that boasts more than 3 inhabitants. You circle, you hope, you occasionally pray to ancient deities of asphalt, only to find the only available spot is 2 zip codes away, requiring a small expedition by foot. 8. Automatic door sensors that don't sense you. You stand there waving your arms like a deranged semaphore operator, performing an increasingly frantic ballet of gestures, while the door remains stubbornly shut, mocking your efforts. It's a tiny daily existential crisis that makes you question your very presence. 9. Your call is important to us hold music, an Orwellian masterpiece of passive-aggressive torture, usually an elevator music rendition of a pop song from 1987. You're important, apparently, but not important enough for an actual human to speak to you for the next 27 minutes while the tinny synthesizer slowly drives you to the brink of insanity. 10. The perpetually sticky remote control. Whether it's from old soda, mysterious crumbs, or just the accumulated grime of human existence, the TV remote always has a slight unsettling tackiness, a faint, almost imperceptible film. It's a grim, unsanitary reminder of shared domesticity and the hidden horrors of the living room. And this has been your Top 10 List. A mild bewilderment regarding email. Good heavens, the sheer unadulterated resilience of it. You'd think, wouldn't you, that in this supposedly advanced age, with all our instant messaging and video calls and whatever fresh hell TikTok has cooked up this week, the humble email would have faded into quaint obsolescence, a gentle relic of a bygone digital era. But no, far from it. Email, it seems, has not merely survived, it has proliferated, adapted, and woven itself so deeply into the fabric of our daily lives that its absence would now feel like the inexplicable disappearance of gravity. Take, for instance, its ubiquity. One might imagine that a technology born in the nascent days of the internet, with its decidedly clunky interfaces and often baffling jargon, would have been swiftly superseded by sleeker, more intuitive alternatives. Yet, here we are. It is the default for formal communication, the quiet workhorse of business, the repository for everything from airline tickets to digital receipts. Every sign-up form, every online purchase, every professional interaction seems to funnel inexorably into that familiar, albeit sometimes overflowing, digital receptacle. It exists in the background, a constant hum of activity, a digital postal service that rarely takes a holiday, delivering everything from crucial contracts to the surprisingly delightful notification that your library book is now overdue. It has a way of being both utterly mundane and absolutely essential, often simultaneously, in the sheer flexibility. It's at once a formal letter, a quick note, a repository for attachments of staggering size, and even, rather surprisingly, a platform for entire newsletters dedicated to everything from rare fungi to obscure Victorian poetry. One can dispatch a multi-page report to a colleague across the globe in mere seconds, or fire off a pithy, one-line query to a family member, often accompanied by an emoji that somehow conveys the nuanced exasperation of a parent. It accommodates the meticulous and the casual, the urgent and the leisurely, morphing to fit the tone and purpose with remarkable ease. It is, in essence, whatever you need it to be. A veritable chameleon of communication, adapting its hue to fit the particular demands of the moment. There's a curious democratic quality to it, too. Anyone with a modicum of technical savvy can dispatch a message to anyone else, traversing continents and time zones with nary a second thought and often arriving before a single teacup has been emptied. It's a low-cost, high-impact marvel that connects distant relatives and global corporations with equal nonchalance. Then there's the accidental history it carries. One's inbox becomes a curious archaeological dig, a layered testament to years gone by, a digital Pompeii of past interactions. Here's the job offer from that decade ago next to an old college assignment filled with youthful optimism, followed by a booking confirmation for a holiday you barely remember taking. It's a personal archive, often entirely unsorted and chaotic, yet strangely comprehensive. It chronicles our digital footprint, our consumer habits, our professional journeys, and occasionally the bewildering threads of conversations that started years ago and never quite reached a proper conclusion, lingering like a digital ghost. It's a trove of forgotten passwords, ancient travel plans, and the occasional truly baffling email from a stranger who clearly had you confused with someone else entirely. It makes one wonder how future historians will grapple with this mountain of digital correspondence, a task that seems rather more daunting than deciphering ancient scrolls, given the sheer volume and ever-evolving acronyms. Imagine sifting through billions of promotional emails for discounted mattresses. A truly Herculean effort. And let us not overlook the silent efficiency with which it generally operates. We largely take it for granted, don't we? The complex ballet of servers, protocols, and networks that ensures our messages zip across oceans and continents, landing in the correct digital pigeonhole, almost instantaneously, day after day. This isn't some postal system where letters might get lost down the back of a sofa or delivered to the wrong address by a distracted postman. No, email, for all its occasional quirks, is remarkably reliable. It simply works. It's there when we need it, mostly invisible until we choose to engage with it, a constant, steadfast presence in our increasingly interconnected lives. It allows for asynchronous communication, meaning we don't have to be online at the same time as our recipient, freeing us from the tyranny of coordinated schedules. This quiet power, this seamless integration into our daily rhythm, is perhaps its most astonishing feat. One can only surmise that email, despite its modest beginnings, has actually become a fascinating study in technological staying power, a testament to simplicity and adaptability, and a surprisingly enduring cornerstone of modern connectivity. It's a quiet, unceasing digital stream flowing through our lives, connecting us in myriad seen and unseen ways, a constant reminder of how far we've come in bridging distances with the merest tap of a key. It makes you consider how utterly different our world would be without it, and perhaps for all its quirks and occasional overflowing inboxes, how remarkably well it continues to serve its purpose. A truly curious beast, wouldn't you say? If you've enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe.
Tune in right now. Got stories to tell, from the small to the grand, all under one spell. We talk about this, we laugh about that, from the strange to the bliss. Get ready to chat. It's the Binge Podcast, where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast. Come join us fast. Right now, got stories to tell, from the small to the grand, all under one spell. We talk about this, we laugh about that, from the strange to the bliss. Get ready to chat. It's the Binge Podcast, where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast. Come join us fast. Where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast. Come join us fast. Tune in right now. Stories to tell from the small to the grand, all under one spell. We talk about this, we laugh about that, from the strange to the bliss. Get ready to chat. It's the Binge Podcast, where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast. Come join us fast.